Yeah, yeah.
They didn't know that
yeah.
Marvel was black.
Yeah.
Paying them to sing, they sing the Soggy Bottom Boys or
Right.
whatever, and it becomes a smash hit.
All right.
Like across the nation.
We're live. Yeah, that's a good movie. All right, so hey, it's me, the action artist, and this is a Friday evening chat edition. And the surprise guest is my nephew. And I basically just invited him in to talk a little bit about his experiences. And I'd like to preface this with him by telling him, I'm going to say right now that recently another big comic skater had his daughter on. It's not really important, I don't necessarily have to say who it is. I'm sure people will know that are following comic skate enough. And she talks about how she notices in her classes that the teacher will barely even allow men to talk. This isn't me complaining about this now. I might as well just say his name because you can go watch it. It's Art Thibert or Art Thibert. He's like been doing comic books since the 80s, I believe, or something. I don't know, a long time. He's like a veteran. And he was part of Image. He had his own Image Comics title called Black and White. I'm going to pull that up for my nephew. I'm just prefacing this so he kind of knows where it is, and my point being is he had some unpleasant experiences with feminism trying to be a nurse, and I've talked about some of that, and the same things happened to him that happened to me in college, and I want him to talk about his experience watching me go through it, and then me trying to talk about it in my family. We don't have to get into it right now. And then me kind of being scorned and outcast for talking about it. And then him finding out later, basically, that it's all true and more. And anyway, so on top of that, Art Thibert's talking about his daughter going through it in her college, too. It's not just men, of course, that are suffering, but at least she's allowed to talk. She's talking about how the lady won't even allow males hardly to talk about anything. She won't. I guess she just doesn't take anything they say seriously because they're males and they have male privilege. So their point of view is moot, right? Or it doesn't doesn't matter, right? And so this is affecting comic books as well as like video games. You heard of Video Game Gate or Gamergate? Gamergate is feminists now going into video games saying they want more women in STEM and video game. You know what I mean? Like computer programming and making video games and and they want more female friendly video games, which is what has killed comics, because comics were usually mainly marketed to young boys, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right. You're not going to find a lot of girls that you go over their house going, hey, you want to let's pull out my X-Men collection or something like that. If you do find a girl like that, if you do find a girl like that, like say in high school, she's going to be some part of some what they call non-normie. You know how they have the normie, they say the normies, non-normie kind of subculture that's not the cream of, that's not considered the cream of the crop, like cheerleader or whatever culture. But my point being is, so you know where I'm going with all of this. And so it's affecting comic books, it's affecting video games, it's affecting college, and people want to joke around like, oh, well, it's affecting college. No, college is like where education happens, which is where like growth and supposedly the higher rungs of society and where you're supposed to earn your way up on merit. I mean, all men can't be construction workers, especially if you like art and want to be an artist. You should know that. That not all men, huh?
But meanwhile, the reality of it is that some people are just getting handouts and like just thrown right up the ladder.
Right, because of their gender,
like regardless of the skill and talents of the people that are actually working their hardest, but don't fit that demographic that they want to promote.
Right.
and say, look, we're a good college because we have the diversity, or we have.
So talk about your situation with your daughter and growing up with me as an uncle, as an artist, and then your situation with college. And then, or no, that I guess first you saw me from the outside. Didn't I get a false allegation in college?
Yeah.
Okay. You watched that from the whole outside. Then you got older, went to college, and then you had a kid. So let's kind of start from there.
I guess giving regard to all formalities, thank you, Stuart, for bringing me onto this page and giving me a voice to promote what we stand for.
Yeah.
So, I grew up with my uncle being one of the best influences that I can think of, and he went through some really tough trials and tribulations. And when he came back, because he traveled abroad, he went across the country and went through a lot. When he came back to talk to the family and get back on his feet from the world knocking him down, he didn't get the kind of welcome that you would expect a family member
or benefit of the doubt.
Benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And, he would talk about things that were very conflictual and in contrast to what the mainstream media and society in general tried to push as what was acceptable or expected or even happening. It just wasn't the reality of what things really were. And even his parents, my grandparents, who were raising me at the time, would hush him and be like, stop talking about those things
in front of you.
Yeah, especially in front of me, because I was at a young age and they thought I was impressionable and like that I would somehow be negatively affected by his testimony of these bad experiences, and that he was somehow wrong, and that the world wasn't the problem, the society wasn't the problem, it was Stuart that was the problem. But then when I grew up, even with being able to witness these things and have, if you would say, foreknowledge and be able to learn from someone else's mistakes, I still ran into a lot of the same barriers that he warned about and talked about and was hushed for, which were really, I don't know, it's hard to put into words, but...
Well, no, I can think of a specific example of them making you bathe huge patients by yourself when you try to be in the nursing program. Basically, white glove you and make you do huge tasks by yourself while women walked around violating health codes. You said not wearing health hairnets.
Yeah.
And then the lady would like come in and remember you told me that story while you're in the middle of it. I mean, just talk about some of that stuff. And
so what we're talking about there,
because I was talking about all the feminists in the school made it ridiculous for if you're like a hetero. I was putting it together just with some of the few articles that were out talking about white privilege and whatnot, and then what I saw going on, the way men were treated in the colleges by females, and you know what I mean. And I was like, oh, I see the game. I see what's going on now. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. But anyway, yeah.
There is some sort of favoritism and nepotism and all kinds of things that go on in college, and especially in the nursing program, from my perspective and experience, and what it kind of boiled down to, and the similarities between mine and my uncles, even though we're a generation apart, is that it was kind of feminism almost, and that it was like, especially in nursing, being nowadays female dominated, what's the word, profession or occupation, that when you try to go to that as a male, that you just right off the gate and throughout the whole thing basically have this negative beginning, or like you have to prove yourself to be one of them, because you're a male, and that there's so many bad things connotated, or, attached to
Connotations
being a male in a
attached to it, yeah.
caregiving position versus a female nowadays,
Right.
because the females,
there's video of women beating old men and
oh yeah, they're
daycare worker women hanging
we could go
babies
back
when they
and
get
forth
mad.
all day. You
Right,
could play
exactly.
the blame game and who is worse all day, all the way back to the beginning. But
only
really,
only males are
talked
talked about.
Both
Yeah,
are, both people have been there,
right?
And it shouldn't be taught that one is more of an aggressor than the other, or one is more dangerous than the other, or one is better than the other in any shape or form.
Right.
Especially if they want to go and then promote, equality and gender equality and opportunity equality, and that there's no kind of like a possibility that if you're a minority in any sort of way that you're going to get turned away. Because
so then later, remember I told you the lady from the nursing program came on, or the lady from either the head nurse at BMC or from the nursing program at PCC, I can't remember, came on the radio live after your whole, by the way, did it not stress you out facing felony charges on false allegations while you were going to college?
Absolutely.
You don't think that affected your life a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, so was she jailed? Was she jailed, or were you compensated, or did they care? Did they care one bit that you had that issue going on?
No, it's still actually used against me.
Yeah, right.
If you wanted to
I had a teacher laugh at me.
So for a quick recap a quick recap is that in my personal life, I had a child with a woman who then accused me while she was pregnant of assault and battery on her, and it was a false accusation, and it was while I was going to school, and because of the
Jeez, what a coincidence. That happened to me while I was going to school.
Oh,
jeez, what a coincidence. Yeah. You can read in the paper. It's happening to a lot of guys.
You talked about it.
So we should all just laugh about it and be like, oh, that's just the way it is. As your sons can't compete. If your son starts doing good, some jealous chick can be like, he did this, and then that's it. Your son's life is over. We're all just supposed to accept that in Comicsgate, as that's just the way it is. Anyway, go ahead.
So I was in school, and it was just an adage. Anyone can imagine easily that any kind of
he's doing good. We better give him a 300-pound patient to bathe, and I'll come in 3 times in the middle of it and be like, hey, you're taking too long.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and shit like that. I'm telling you, man.
And besides that, so like I said, like you hear that, and you immediately sympathize with the person that they're going through, especially if you give them the benefit of the doubt that it is a false accusation and that they shouldn't be getting dragged.
As we do in America.
That they should have some kind of, as they call it, like an excused absence, or at least an easier road, or some kind of like, help from the administration, or help from the school, or some kind of acknowledgement.
Or if it could be, if we're gonna just assume, or either way, it's got to be equal. Or if it's gonna be assumed that if you hit your girlfriend, you must have had a good reason for it. Mm-hmm. Just like a girl, they would say if your girl hit a guy, he must have had it coming. You know what I mean?
Like I'm going.
Oh, you hit your girlfriend? Imagine if your professor was like, "Oh, you actually hit your girlfriend? Right. Wow, guys usually don't hit girls. What did she do to make you hit her?"
Instead of why would you do that?
Yeah,
it was like what she do to deserve.
No, I hear you, man. But anyway, go ahead.
Right. That's what I mean.
No, women hit more.
Women hit more. Conditions to feel that men are more the aggressor.
Right.
Always in the wrong.
Right.
But so, like I was getting at, I was going to school, and it was interfering to have these personal problems in life that were real severe problems that no one would disagree.
Oh, facing prison time. That's just the way it is for men.
No one would disagree that.
You need to man up. That's just the way it is for men now. Right. Anyway, go ahead.
No one would disagree that it was a possible negative influence to be able to keep up with the demands on you in any kind of college study, let alone nursing nowadays. So.
Do you mind showing your face on camera at all?
I don't mind if you do.
I'm just gonna say I want everybody to know that you're not a homely guy. That this is my handsome, good-looking nephew right here.
Now you're lying.
You know what I'm saying? Tall. You know what I'm saying? He's got a daughter. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
So I forget what I was at.
Everybody assumes that the guys
so
are.
I had a real problem. And
yeah, real
now,
problem. Seriously, I knew your problem was
still,
real.
I would still get, like the strict.
I knew. I've been through
these,
it. So
rules and requirements by the.
Hey, did talking to me help at all?
Absolutely,
Oh.
because you gave me like foreknowledge, but the only help it gave me really was so that I could take comfort that I wasn't alone and that I wasn't some kind of weirdo.
Right.
It didn't really help my situation no more. That I still
because you have
got
no
singled out.
No, because as a male, basically, when if a woman says something, you did it.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway.
Oh, you're guilty before proven innocent.
Yeah, you were facing hardcore prison time.
I went to I'm pretty much the most non-conflictual person you can run into nowadays.
Everybody I know that
I run into
every single person I know, and I know some people that are like fighter, like Joe Cavey,
right?
Cage fighter,
right.
Badass. You know what I mean?
Has been in many conflicts.
Yeah, he looks for conflicts sometimes. Right. He likes to beat up bad people, and he was like, your nephew. He's like the nicest, most polite, respectful. He's like, I'm not saying he seems weak. He's like, he seems like if he had to, he could like really kick some ass. He just goes, I'm saying he's like
he's innocent.
He's like he's the most.
You had to boil it down to anything.
Oh, you were. Oh, I knew you were innocent.
Well, I don't mean of my situation, but I mean in nature. In nature, I mean besides that, I'm not perfect. I'm flawed, like humans.
Like a lot
I'm
of
a
people.
good person. I'm a good Samaritan, or whatever you want to compare it to. Is that I would I wouldn't put anyone in danger or take advantage of them in any way.
Yeah, right.
If you had to really
that's basically kind of what Joe Cavey
said about you.
That's kind of what Joe Cavey was trying to say about
you.
To
be the most vague about
it. He said you seem like you want everything to be fair and everybody to be fair and just get along. Basically.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
Pacifist.
That's how we raise the men in our family. But when we go to college, somehow we're treated like fucking devils.
Oh,
and when we get a girlfriend, we're treated like a devil. Right, and I'm sick of it. And if people are going to treat, I've already said on my channel, if people are going to treat me and my family like the devil, then I'll fight this whole fucking planet by myself on behalf of my family. I'll go to war with this whole fucking planet on behalf of God and my family. I'm telling you, man, this planet, man, I'm so sick of it.
The audience doesn't know about this, but
anyway, I'm not saying you have to agree with me on that. I'm just saying you don't have to agree with me on that. I'm just saying I am sick of my family raising good men, and then the good men and people go, oh, veterans. Really? We're from a veteran family. I don't get no respect because my father's a veteran. Nobody's like, oh, you're from a legacy of people that have fought for the country, and oh, well, hey,
let's give you. Let's give you.
Well, hey, we don't get anything out of that. Mm-hmm. It's something to be almost ashamed of. You don't talk about it, and nobody gives a shit about. I am my father's legacy. Yeah. Nobody's gonna wipe his ass when he's. I don't want him to go into a shitty nursing home where some abusive lady might smack him around. That's mad at men.
It's not even that.
It is that for me.
No, I mean,
I'll wipe my dad's ass, but I have to be able to afford to do it. You know what I mean? And he's a veteran. And this country doesn't care about. I'm telling you, these people that say they care about veterans don't care about veterans. But go ahead.
On a personal note related to that, and then back to the personal note related to you.
Yeah.
I was a CNA for close to 5 years.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
With the demands put on you, there's not the manpower to get the job done for everyone that is in a nursing home, and it's not fair to the patients, to the families, to even the staff, because you get put in these situations that are impossible.
Well, it doesn't help. It doesn't help that if we're just gonna elevate women in.
Oh yeah.
And then everyone just herald women as heroes. You know what I mean? When a woman can't handle it and you're dying, she can't lift something. She can't. You know what I mean? Whatever. Right. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, like I work in healthcare, right? And it's almost all women in my office. But you know what? Guess who gets called down when there's 3,000 pounds worth of snow melt that needs to be moved off the back of the truck into the garage onto a pallet. And when there's 4 or 5 50-pound bales of paper to be, it's me.
So
I get called.
So this is what happened.
Or when he needs, or when my boss on one of his other properties besides the business I work for needs to carry a new washer up out of one of his properties over to where we work because the washer broke, so we can't wash the patient those
to keep
little things that the patients wear. What do you call them? Gowns. You know what I mean? Stuff like sheet Johnnies and sheets and pillowcases and stuff. Mm-hmm. I get called for all that, not the women that work there.
Not even the younger women.
So we're really devaluing the quality of healthcare, everything. I'm just gonna say it. I'm done pretending that we need to corral women into. I am a right winger. I am a Christian. I read the Bible, and God said, "Let it be a patriarchy." As far as I know. And let men provide for and protect the women and children. And if your woman is going out trying to be a man, then it's really hard for you to try to protect her. And if you're in jail because you can't afford child support for 2 kids that you barely see anyway, that she has full custody of,
doesn't match your beliefs at all.
Then that's what I'm saying. That's not anybody who's not down with me. You're not a Christian, and you're not a traditional American conservative. You need to hang it up and just call yourself a liberal. Basically.
You're not in your comfort zone, so you're gonna be extremist looking and sounding. But you sound alarmist.
And I didn't
sound alarmist, but
I didn't talk like this. And I didn't used to talk like this.
They told me this. What life is.
Yeah, it's not like I just had this attitude. Listen. Let's not put the cart before the horse. It's not like I had this attitude and then my life failed because of my attitude.
Right.
No, I used to be like you.
Oh,
I believed what all my optimistic, and when someone like me came along, I listened to everyone else and said, "No, you're stupid," and didn't listen to the guys like me that told me about false allegations and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you know what I mean? And I wanted to be fair and nice and let everybody get along the way my parents taught me. And then by about 2005, I almost ripped some guy's eyeball out of his face. I was like, "Oh yeah, you want to fight?" And I just beat this guy up and snatched and put and grabbed his fucking eyeball right in his eye socket. And then I punched Rick a couple summers ago and almost knocked him out clean with one hit, and just his face just exploded all over the kitchen, just blood everywhere. You know what I mean? No, now I have this attitude.
Right.
No, before I was a wicked good kid that was super fair and helped minorities. I had let my best friend Phil live with me in high school, and that was colored. And you know what I mean? Because he lived in the ghetto. I felt sorry. I listened to everybody else, and I felt sorry for all the women and all the minorities, and I took care of everybody except myself. And then I got older, and nobody wanted to help me now that I was being discriminated against by the system. And then I said, "All right, boom, you want some fight? You want to fight? Here, I got your eyeball in my hands. How about now? What? I'm not being nice anymore. How now? Do you like me? How do you know what I mean?" That was my new attitude, basically.
You know what they would call you?
What?
The self-fulfilled prophet, basically.
Right. Okay. Well, whatever that is, that's what happened to me. I tried to be super nice and respectful and help everybody, and then I helped myself right out of my own, and I helped myself right out of my own father's legacy. What did they all do? Try to put me in jail and lie about me.
For the audience, I want to say
that's America now.
For the audience, I want to say what I mean so they understand my vocabulary. The self-projected or self-fulfilled prophecy is that society or whomever projected onto Stuart that he was a violent person and he was wrong for so long that he eventually one time snapped and had someone's eyeball in his head.
No, I mean, I'm just saying. That was at 35.
Over and over.
That was at 35 years old.
That's what I mean.
You know what I mean?
Long time.
Yeah, no, where I finally
fulfilled.
And then somebody finally somebody came to my apartment to beat me up, and I'd already gotten my I'd already been beat up once before, and this was like, that's never going to happen again. So I beat them up instead. It backfired. It didn't work out the way they thought it was. I beat them up in front of their friends. And then the girl that falsely accused me, that was supposedly a Christian, stuck up for that guy when that guy was fighting on behalf of a sexual predator. Right. So the girl you remember that? Remember I got falsely accused? Remember that ordeal?
No.
How about that stuff?
I was young when it all happened, but I remember it happened too, and I don't know.
In college, by a girl that was my roommate.
Yeah, while you were going to college.
Why? Because I decided to help her
finish your pretty much career in college.
Yep.
This whole podcast or whatever live cast has been, the focus is a little bit mixed, but is that you have extreme talent, and
that could never be divided. They have to get me on. They always have to get me on. They always have to get me on my attitude or political correctness or it's this person deserves it more than you because they're just they're female or they're not they need
under the rug.
Yeah.
Ideology that.
Yeah, when I give you pictures, when I give you comic book pictures that I drew, like originals, do you hide them or do you hang them on your wall? And people see them, and what they're like?
Both, because the hiding portion of it isn't hiding out of like, oh, this isn't good. It's hiding out of like, this is so good. I want to keep it for when he blows up. And I'm so waiting for that day when like people are like, holy shit, Stuart Hunkler, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, oh yeah. I've got the fucking original.
I got the original originals. I got the pre-originals.
That's how confirmed in my mind that it's
good stuff.
It's good stuff. Yeah. It is quality. It is genuine. It is what.
And it touches on stuff and doesn't Nutjob kind of touches on everything that we're all talking about. Why wouldn't these comic skate artists that literally read my comments in their comment section know who I am? Why wouldn't they jump on my comic idea and help me with it when it goes against when it flies in the face of everything they're talking about in Comicsgate and it's entertaining and cool with a cool badass character? What's really going on, you think there? Well, I mean, I don't know. So am I paranoid, do you think?
Earlier I had
it's just me being paranoid or I'm complaining because I suck? You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah.
Earlier, I had two personal notes that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
Because we were talking before this whole video started, and the second personal note was how, in the back of my mind, that we mentioned that my uncle's almost a trendsetter, and it's funny because I've even seen commercials where certain computers have processing systems, and like they're selling a new computer, and it'll show the people buying the computer so pleased with the way it works. They'll be like, oh, I came up with this idea like a wicked long time ago. They stole this from me, but obviously like they're just like a regular person that doesn't even work with computers. But what I'm getting at is that I was thinking it would be funny how if this podcast somehow turned into a series or something or a comic, or if you were being trolled that they were gonna post something that showed something like a skit of us doing the same thing, or even we were just mentioning what was it?
Well, dude, listen to this. Let's just change the topic for a minute because I want to talk about comic books because I asked you this before. Who would be your favorite comic book character, by the way? Besides, anything of mine.
I think really what it really.
Yeah, I know you mainly only watch the cartoons and movies.
And I'm not a super geek on everything, but okay. Out of fictional characters that don't exist, that have been in comic books or on TV, I think if you had to eliminate everyone, my favorite character would be Wolverine. I don't know why. I just connect with Wolverine so much.
Yeah.
And
he's mad at the world. I've seen
my uncle.
Wolverine's mad at the world.
Everything. I've seen maybe one or two drawings that Stuart's done of Wolverine. Not many, but I've seen Stuart too. Well, a lot of the top ones nowadays are Spider-Man.
I kind of disavowed Marvel and DC when all this kind of weird political correctness crap started back in the late '90s and early 2000s. I was like, I'm not gonna promote them. I was like, why would I promote Marvel or DC? I'm a struggling artist, and like you said, I feel like I'm a pretty. I don't feel like it. Everybody tells me I'm talented, and all I really need is some exposure.
Yeah.
And I was like, so why am I going to promote them? They don't give a fuck about me. You know what I mean? They just want my money, basically. And and I don't have any money because everybody hates. Because what I got, I go to college, I get false allegations.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to talk. My opinion means shit. You know what I mean? Why would I like living in a country like that where I go to college? I can't. I'm considered privileged. My opinion means
but
nothing.
Meanwhile,
why would I like
the
being
mass
here?
media is pushing the whole opposite reality is what is existing, and you're just living the opposite of what everyone expects. So when you bring them your story, they're just like, you're crazy. That's not what's happening in real life. You're an anomaly. You don't exist.
Yeah, like that's one of the things I notice is liberalism is a problem and feminism is a problem until you're a single father and you go start talking to even the conservatives about how feminism is screwing you over as a father. Then it's you're stupid for being with her. And nobody you can just tell them that you found a needle on the mother's bed while you were over there, and it won't be how come the judge isn't awarding you custody right now on behalf because it's best for the kid. No, they go, you're stupid. They don't go, that kid's being abused, she's abusing the kid that needs to be given to you right now. They go, you're stupid for being a conservative Trump supporter will say, you're stupid for being with her. That's the first thing that'll come out of their mouth, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know.
Not the kid's being abused and you should have custody. It's you're stupid for being with her.
I think a good thing to keep in mind about everything we talk about right now is that there's a dual standard to everything.
Yeah.
That one thing that is not okay for one party, mainly usually being men and sometimes being white men, for us anyways, as being personal white men, and then the other party being the women, whether they're white or not, because in my personal situation I'm with a black woman, but they can do no harm, or that they're immediately, if you're going to be put in a race against each other, they have a head start all the time.
Right.
So
talk about counseling.
So in my personal experience, I'm with a girl who I'd never intended to have a child with, who is a black woman. Not that matters. That I just want to put out there that I'm white and she's black, so everyone can understand the situation better.
You're just saying. Yeah.
So, but this is my perspective, and everyone can take it for face value. Yes,
my nephew has the mother of his child is colored and his child is mixed race.
Right. So least to say there was lots of conflict in our relationship, and we were a broken family, not your traditional, married couple that had planned kids. We were just a couple that got together and had unplanned kids. So we hit rocky roads where we didn't agree on things, and we disagreed to the point where the law had to get involved and decide things for us almost.
Right.
Even so,
they sure didn't come in and say, well, he's the man.
Right.
And he knows what's best, and he's trying to go to school and get a career going and take care of his family, and you need to kind of, stick with him, young lady, and that's what's best for the kid. They sure didn't say that to you.
I'm getting there.
Go ahead.
I'm getting there. So
imagine if that's what everyone said.
We're in Massachusetts, so immediately off the bat, since we weren't married, the child got, the mother, the maternal side of the family got immediate custody, no matter what kind of.
Yeah, that's because the tender ages law, which was overturned, is still in force on behalf of mothers. So even though men and fathers' rights activists got together and said that the tender ages law is unfair for men,
which my uncle tried to talk to me about before I had this relationship when I was young, but was looked down upon by society and even my own family.
Oh,
so
if I told you women generally
get the black sheep pretty much because of trying to put light onto this ugly issue.
They specifically said what? He's crazy, basically.
Yeah, but don't listen to Stuart. You're gonna end up in pretty much jail or in the same situation.
Because you didn't listen to me, you pretty much almost ended up in jail.
Exactly.
All right, cool, yeah.
So
anyway, go
what
ahead.
we're getting at is that
the law came in and had to decide everything for you.
The law came in, so the child resided with the mother because of the law.
The underage law, which was overturned but still enforced by the courts.
Let me just say that, all right, so the child was born at the hospital. I was at the hospital, but I want to sign the father's rights right away because of the way our relationship was. I didn't know, and I wanted.
You wanted to make sure it was your kid,
right?
That's conservative.
So I didn't do that right away.
Don't agree to something you don't know about.
So that's what I mean by we didn't start off as a traditional married family with a kid. Like it wasn't all 100%.
Well, hey,
but I did eventually get a
being an upstanding white American-born all-American son from a veteran family. It wasn't like girls were white, all-American white girls were beating down your door either, were they? Well,
no.
Anyway, but that's a whole other topic. Be a good, decent guy from a veteran family, and everything will just work out for you.
It's related to the conversation earlier in the video. While I was in college, before the baby was born, the mother accused me. False allegations that I had assaulted her while she was pregnant. Those were all false. They were eventually I was in court and they were trying to get me to take a plea deal that would somehow say I was not guilty, but that I was guilty.
Oh yeah, that's the new legal system. Yeah, where you just
and I didn't accept that. I said no way. I'm going all the way.
Right.
That I'm not guilty.
Hey,
and they said, hey, well, if the judge doesn't believe you, you may serve time and get a fine. I said all the way. It didn't happen. It's not true. The woman, even herself, the mother herself, ended up dropping the charges, but the state picked it back up.
Right.
And she didn't ever show up for court. Never showed up for court.
Whereas a man, you can barely get charges.
Even though she claimed injuries, never went to the hospital to get those injuries checked out.
Right.
If you were a mother concerned for your child and you got injured while you were pregnant, and that's why you're trying to call the cops, why don't you go to the hospital? Never did that.
Well, nothing added up, but I'm not a policeman.
Nothing added up.
But the policeman
eventually. Listen, altogether.
Listen, that you did get a not guilty, and I was very concerned that you would.
And you were there for me. Even though you had work, you would show up, and even though you couldn't really sit through the court case all the time, sometimes it was just scrambling.
I was keeping tabs, making sure they didn't put my nephew in jail for nothing, man.
And you were very concerned, and you were very supportive. So that gave me.
I didn't want. Not even just put you in jail for nothing. I didn't want so much as one mark on your record over that.
Oh, that's the other thing.
I was like,
false allegation like that.
Oh, let me say also, in my mind, nothing added up because if you beat up a girl, it would be absolutely apparent.
Exactly.
And or you know what I'm saying, and also,
she had like a bruise on her arm.
And also, and what I was going to say is the police don't do a real investigation anymore.
Yeah.
Just a guy did this to you. Okay, go get him.
Yeah.
There's no proof. There's no proof.
They came to my house, and were like, "What's the story?" And I was like, "There is no story. I have nothing to say." And they're like, "All right, let's go to jail." And I spent the night in jail.
Yeah.
Just guilty, like we said earlier, guilty before proven innocent. Like even though I had a final a midterm the next day.
Yeah.
I think. And I had to get an excused absence for that.
Then she reverses her testimony.
Says nothing.
The only reason that you did get an innocent finding is because who said to hire a private eye? I said to hire a private eye.
I didn't know that. So we did hire a private eye who went and took interviews from my girlfriend, and even actually had been. Not that this was involved in the court case or had any relevance in my court case, but had prior knowledge of her from a prior case, totally unrelated, and knew that I don't want to say knew what he knew, but basically that knew about her. Went and talked to her and got her professionally on record to admit that pretty much nothing happened, that any struggle that ensued or injury that she got, that she called the cops for initially, she didn't get from me. She got from
Right.
like herself.
I am sick of seeing men go to jail over every little thing,
Right.
and women get off. I mean, they do.
Just immediately.
Some women get in trouble; they get put in jail, but there ain't.
Victim.
But women, let me say, I'm just saying, you know, I'm not saying that the justice system completely lets women go, because they make money off incarceration, and they just throw everybody in jail now, which they used to make people. They didn't just throw everybody in jail. If you wronged somebody, throwing them in jail didn't necessarily help you.
It just made you feel better.
What we used to do in society is if you
protected everyone else from them repeating it.
What we used to do in society is if you got caught wronging somebody and there was a fair trial and you were found guilty, stealing, whatever, this, that, raping, whatever, you were forced to pay that person damages.
Yeah, right.
And if you didn't, your family was forced to pay for you, which made people keep their family members in line even. So not anymore. They just throw everybody in jail. But anyway, no, they mostly, what I was going to say is there are women in jail, don't get me wrong, but if you look at the averages, women are doing lesser times for the same crimes. You know what I mean? There's women doing a couple years for stuff a guy will do 12, 14, 16, 20 years for. You know what I'm saying? A girl can go out and bury her baby in the backyard against the father's will without him even knowing and be out on house arrest. You know what I mean? Whereas a guy would have dangerousness hearings and bail would be revoked. You know, he murdered a baby. You know, understand what I'm saying? Right. He'd be awaiting trial and fucking. Right. You know, understand what I'm saying? Right. Yeah. And
I can relate to that from the same situation.
I'm just saying.
I just said
this double standard has to go. I'm sick. Or we have to admit that there's a double standard and stop helping women so much because everybody's already helping them, basically. But anyway.
So the way I relate to what you just said, in my own experience, being on the opposite side of the whole spectrum.
Tell young boys, there's a double standard, and you can do everything right, but if a woman says something, you're fucked. You're fucked. Just know that when you know they don't want to tell young men that because then young men won't date. Well, sorry, but the truth is more important. Sorry. So let the sky fall. The truth be told, let the sky fall.
Even though this
but anyway, there's a quote for all you conversators. Anyway,
basically, so the way I relate and have the perspective on what we just touched on is the double standard, and that the false accuser usually doesn't get any kind of repercussions. But the person going through the false allegations does.
Yeah,
so
not nearly.
In my case,
they don't get.
I was going to school.
I want to specify because I know all the research. They do sometimes, but they don't get nearly the amount of time as the guy was about to get for what it should be like almost equal. Like if you're going to put a man away for rape for 12 years. Then if a woman gets found falsely accusing a guy of rape, then she needs to go to prison for 12 years and find out what it's like to be in prison for 12 years.
Right. I agree on that.
Right.
So for me, I was going to college, and I had to take time off from going to class or taking a test or whatever to show up in court for something that all she had to do is not show up in court.
And they all advocated
the charges.
And they all advocated for with your tax dollars, people. With your tax dollars.
But listen, not only did they advocate her, but they insisted and encouraged her not to just press charges, but to get a restraining order on me, which in the state of Mass, you're about to say, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
in the state of Mass, if you get a restraining order on you for any reason at all, whether it's true or false for what you did or didn't do, if you get a restraining order on you, you can't bear arms anymore. I think it violates that you can't own.
If you get a permanent one on you, and and if you get convicted, I've had restraining orders, but they eventually were. I got them overturned. So if a woman would have managed to get one on me for life, because some women can get a restraining order, a woman can fuck with you, and then piss you off, and you do something stupid.
Yeah.
Because people don't, because it's called red pill rage.
And
it's called red. Wait, let me explain. This is important. It's called red pill rage. It's when you're told your whole life that women are cinnamon, spice, and everything nice, and then when screws you over, even though you do everything right, and you find out that it doesn't matter, then they go, oh, well, she just wasn't for you. Oh, she wasn't for the guy that did everything right for her. That
even though
she was initially right,
and split the
right, exactly, right. You know what I'm saying? And then you wake up and realize, oh, women do sometimes make fucked up decisions.
Yeah.
And and basically, you know, and then you realize you've been lied to your entire life when your girlfriend says you beat her and you didn't. And takes your kids from you, and you know what I'm saying, and
or you have to win, and then you know what I'm saying,
cost, and then these guys who have been, like I said, we got to start telling men the truth, who have been lied to their whole lives that women don't do anything wrong ever. It's always the guy's fault. Then they snap, and what do? They kill themselves. They go shoot their wife and their kids. They do murder suicides.
Yeah.
When some guy who's built a family his entire life, and then his wife's loyal, and then she's mad because she sees the media portraying men as cheating, lying. He's at work all day.
Man,
he's working 60 hours a week, and she's bored. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because really, it's not that hard to raise kids. Women are basically like kids, and that's why we have them raise kids. Anyway, my point being is he comes home, she's just like, I'm not you cheated, not you did this, not you did that. Just, you're late every night for dinner. I'm unhappy. I want a divorce. And then next thing you know, and then he gets mad, and then he gets removed from the home. Then he gets a restraining order on him. You understand what I'm saying? Now he goes, women are sugar and spice and everything nice, and I'm about to lose everything. And they go into red pill rage, and they go and they do stuff.
Heinous crimes.
They do crazy shit. Yeah. Well, you know, hey, you realize you've been lied to. Realize you've been lied to your whole life, and then when you bring up that you're lied to, and your wife's been given what's called the silver bullet by her lawyer, which is to make some false allegations. Which
don't have to have any evidence.
And lawyers, I don't call it the silver bullet. Lawyers call it the silver bullet, because it's very effective and it works almost every time against a man to say he was diddling or beating the kids or
absolutely
beating her.
People act like men and white men in general have this privilege or whatever, this white privilege, this male privilege. And honestly, when it boils down to it, I think the not main media, like the average Joe. If you're talking to the average Joe,
just street, society.
They're going to say, "Oh yeah, the woman's going to get the children. The woman's going to win the case because, Like
if you were to bring a camera around and go around and ask people how many, if you were to bring a camera and walk down any street anywhere and ask everybody randomly, "Hey, I got it. I could do it. Why don't I start doing that?" I'll come home. I'll film myself coming home, getting off of work, so people can't say I set it up. I'll drive right to North Street, get out of my car, so people can't say I waited all day and edited it, and I won't edit it at all. And I'll walk right down the road and say, "Hey, I got a big YouTube channel, and I'm doing a survey. How many single mothers with housing, with benefits, do you know?" As opposed to in full custody, or or kids living with them, basically, as opposed to single fathers getting benefits, with custody of all their kids and everything, getting benefits. And you're going to tell me that I'm going to find anybody that's going to tell me they know more fathers? Dude, are you going to tell me that?
Well, I think more deeply what we're getting.
I'll bet anybody. I'll bet anybody listening or that listens to this $1,000 right now that you can't even find an example of what I'm talking about. A single father with 2 or 3 kids from, like a single mother from several women, where they're paying support. They're working. He's on grants and scholarships and going to college and dropping the kids off at daycare, and he's living in the projects, and he's running the family, making most of the decisions for the kids. If you want to shut down my channel, go find that guy right now. I mean, well, more than one. You can't just find one. Go find that subculture of even like, I don't know, if it was even like close to half, like 30%, you know what I mean, of single parent homes were father homes, like I'm talking about right now, with the same everything as a mother, just opposite, the father raising the kids. I'll shut down my channel right now. So none of you guys have to ever hear me rant again, and I'll pay you $1,000. Okay. I'll pay you $1,000 and shut down my channel, even if I have to send you $100 a week, or even if I got to send you $25 or $50 a week until you get $1,000. I will pay you $1,000 right now and shut down my channel if you can even find a handful of guys in this whole country like I'm talking about right now, basically. You know what I'm saying? Woman paying child support, man living on Section 8, welfare, WIC, fucking, you know what I mean? Going to all the places, going to all the churches, getting free bread and free food, and you know what I mean? All the handouts. Dating women that are taking them out on dates and paying for half the date or more. You know what I mean? You show me that guy that's living that life right now, and I'll go, oh, you're right. There's equality, and I need to shut up, and that's the end of my channel. Boop, gone.
That's what I was just
I'll be gone forever. No one will ever have to listen to me again.
So
period.
So what I get,
it's just not going to happen.
What I get from what you just said in summation is that there isn't equality. They're putting on a front that there is equality and there isn't.
No, there's no dads doing that. There's no fathers doing that stuff.
So
you got custody of your kid from a mother that was completely unfit. I don't want to get into it. And who's still in your life?
My kid.
No, who's still in your life about it?
DCF.
Yeah. Department of Children and Family.
So, yeah,
you can't even get rid of them. They're circling around like hawks.
Even
you know why? Because they don't make money unless they get that kid away from you. They don't make federal money unless they get that kid away from you and give it back to the mother and give it back to the mother.
Or that, yeah, and get her
where the benefits will continue.
So
are you getting Section 8?
No, I'm not getting any kind of benefit at all. No kind of financial help to be a single dad at all.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what'll happen. And you know what'll happen.
Conversation comes up.
And you know what'll happen.
You make, and I make way too much.
And
I still live in pretty much poverty. Not poverty, but like the very low middle class.
Okay, and I will bet you I'll bet you $500. I'm gonna start laying money out there. I will bet you $500 right now if you can find a site comparable to single mother site that helps single mothers. Like a website.
I'll never find it. I mean,
no, they're all in disarray with no money. They're like, well, your situation is pretty grim, but you might be able to do.
There's always an alternative and some help of it somewhere.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is that whole thing. The deeper part is the court is making the decision for the custody and the decisions based on what they call not only equality, but the more focus that the court takes on for custody of the children is the interests of the children. Who's got the best interests of the children? And they immediately start off with what the woman does.
Is the best interest.
The woman is regarded as either better.
Why would you have a society? Why would you have a society where you tell the women you can have these benefits if you kick the man out of the family?
That's what I'm getting to.
You know what I mean? Like it's incredible. Why would you do that?
So it's tied into that. They right off the bat they have the initiative. You know, they have the interest. They're going to get custody, but tied in with that is that they have to defame the man. If they have to, depending on the situation, they have to claim victimhood of some kind of
status, because that's the only thing that will get the man. They can't say, my man's doing the best he. They can't say, listen to this. They can't say the man's doing the best he can, but NAFTA and all this shit has fucked over the country, so there's no jobs and women working, men competing with women. So now my man can't compete with affirmative action You know what I mean? They
Not at
can't.
all.
So our whole family needs
Unless
help.
it's some special
They gotta
situation,
say
which is what
the
I'm
man
getting to.
isn't sufficient. Right.
So what
And-
I'm getting
right,
into is
exactly.
why I won my case was it was an extreme opposite.
Extreme, right.
Like the woman could not cast a bad light on me, and not only could she not cast a bad light on me, she was in such
Total
disarray.
darkness.
Total
Total
not
darkness.
motherhood, not raising not the best interest of the child's material at all, which is the only reason I won custody, because immediately off the bat,
Well, and you
since
should.
I was accused, so
Now in a
earlier,
patriot,
the
now
false allegations
now in a
that I was
patriarchy.
abusive to her. That's why I didn't get notified
Jeez,
by
you
the
think
court
it's
right
not?
away.
You think it's not apparent? You think our communities are so fucking dumb? It's not apparent that she wasn't mother material, or you think maybe there's a bunch of
No,
thirsty
there's
guys
something
out
going
there
on.
just trying to
It's the
get
money.
Yeah, and thirsty guys out there, encouraging that behavior amongst women so they
It's
can get.
glorified on the TV. It's glorified in society.
Because feminism,
It's money.
no, because feminism has
It's a
really
conspiracy,
encouraged it.
whatever you wanna say.
No, because then feminism has encouraged them to not get married, so the men are gonna still try to mate and have kids, so it's become a hit it and quit it culture, basically.
And the way that they ensure that happens is they make the road to opportunity super available to women and not to men.
Right,
And not to sound like sexist, but like that's what we
right.
have experienced. Is that like when I said
One of my
earlier
favorite,
that I had I should have had an excused absence for going to court, because that's a uncontrollable out of a special circumstance.
Right.
Meanwhile, there were women in my class that were getting the same excuse that I would require for way smaller problems in their lives.
Right.
And
No, that's affirmative action. That's affirmative action. That's the they're gonna minimize your huge problem.
because I'm a male and I
right,
should
and
just
they're
man
gonna
up.
and they're gonna take her little tiny problem that she probably
And blow it
created
out of
herself and blow it out of proportion because she's a dumb bird brain female.
Or
that
she just didn't plan her time right and
I'm
just making something up. Or maybe it's
telling- I'm
not made
telling
up,
you, man.
but she's just exploiting it because
I'm telling you,
she,
man.
the
I'm
man's
done
not doing
pulling
college
punches,
nowadays.
man,
It's crazy.
because the women in this country are dumb, and you know how I know, and I'll prove it. Asian women, they dress like complete bimbos, and they go out with geeky ass. Go to any college campus right now, and you will see
exploitation.
You will see the
They're not
geekiest. You will see the geekiest ass Asian dudes walking around hand in hand with the hottest Asian chicks that are dressed like complete bimbos that are taking STEM classes, meaning science, astrophysics,
All the required classes to get into the jobs.
math,
actually
math.
support a family
Right,
and to
right.
hold any
How
kind
many
of
of it-
power in
You're
society.
gonna now? Are you
or
gonna
clout
now?
in,
Now, do you think?
law?
Now you think you're gonna go to a college campus and see a bunch of hot bimbo dressed STEMs class taking white American broads walking around with geeky ass fucking white dudes, man?
No, they were
Hand
the
in
jocks.
hand? No, not even with jocks anymore. With each other now. White. You go to a campus now. It's like they're completely divided up. It's like you'll see the women shopping together and eating at restaurants together, and you'll see the men, the white males. We're not even allowed to fucking get together anymore, hardly in a college atmosphere. It's from you dated. You dated a white guy.
Anything related to old
You dated a
traditional,
white guy. You know what I mean? Anyway, but.
anything related to old traditional values is very looked down upon now in society.
Right.
So like everything nowadays has to be supportive and even glorifying of
No, if you're a white male, you got to join a fraternity and sit in a pit with a coffin and let some rich guys pee and poop on you, so they have a whole bunch of shit on you that they can use against you later, and then you'll be up on TV, and the Republicans will be cheering you on, going, "That Will Massey is a really good guy. He, he signed such and such 2 years ago." And blippity blah blah. As you came from like Yale University, where you like poop, you went through like diaper pooping rituals and getting peed on and sitting and
Defaming
just getting totally defiling yourself to prove, maybe even beating a kid or something, whatever they do.
Dirt on you, so
yeah,
right,
you. Exactly, yeah. And then the Republicans will be like, I'm voting for Will Massey. Yeah, he's a good guy. You see his wife, your wife's like skinning little boys alive and shit, you know what I mean? Sacrificing them to the devil and shit. They're like, he has a nice wife and kids. No, it's like you're actually a female. Will Massey's a female to male tranny, and his wife's like a male to female tranny, and it's like a satanic family that went to like fucking Yale and Harvard, and you know what I mean? That's like the type of shit I think's going on. But anyway, the Republicans are like, that dude, that Will's great. It's like a satanic fucking female fucking weirdo or something, female to male tranny. I think the feminists are taking female to males and having them go in, or male to females and having them go in and fight for women's rights. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. And female to male because it's kind of, even because it was a patriarchy. So you have a bunch of female. What would you do in a patriarchy? You'd have a bunch of dykes dressed up as males and infiltrate.
Oh man, I'm too forgetful to remember what I want to say.
Sorry.
Basically, I saw a post related to what the message you're trying to convey right now about how there's a debate between ideologies, and there's lots of debate allowed about the ideologies.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember it. I have to find it. Oh. I'd have to find it, man.
That's all right. Later for another show. No, save it for another show.
What I'm kind of trying to say, though, is that there's these two opposing ideas, and there's many things that could be done about them to solve them or resolve them or whatever, but none of that is happening. Instead, there's too much focus being set on the debate just for the sake of having a debate, and they're very narrow-minded, I guess. And what I'm trying to say, related to what you're saying, is what are you saying?
I don't know, man. I'm just having fun now. I'm glad that I'm doing a podcast with my nephew on a Friday night. Cheers to that. We're out of here.
You were talking about how they promote you as being one thing that you're not. They're saying, you know, that person is great, vote for him. But meanwhile, they've got blackmail dirt on you.
Yeah, right.
So like, that's the debate part of it. It's like they're promoting you because you're debating something.
Yeah, where does the debate come in that all these people that aren't doing anything that's right for the company or country just stay in charge forever, and you know what I mean, and nothing ever gets done, and you know what I mean, to overturn. You know, if I brought it up. You know, I don't even have to bring up any names, but I brought it up on a well-known Comicsgate kind of podcast about, you know, they were talking shit about liberals, and I said, yeah, well, on the other hand, Republicans voting for all these candidates over the years hasn't helped overturn any of the quote dumb liberals legislation that they've managed to get passed against, like gun control. You know what I'm saying? All this, you know, diversity crap. You know what I'm saying? Like the Republican candidates aren't effective there because they won't tell the other side of the coins. Will. That's what it comes down to. Listen. Oh yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Do what you got to do. Go ahead. Nope. I'm just saying that's what the problem is. The debate. What we're trying to say is the other side of the coin isn't being shown, and that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. I'm trying to show the other side of the coin so that the debate's over. Nobody can say these people are better, these people are worse, this gender is better, blah 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 blah. Because it is because the
contradicts what they're saying.
Oh yeah, women. That's what I've devoted some of my channel that's showing is that women do all the same stuff men do, worse sometimes. I don't know, as just as bad anyway. They kill babies, they torture old people, they you know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, they have more sex than men. If you take like 75% of the female population as opposed to like 75% of the male population, that 75% of the female population would be having way more sex than 75% of the male population, any 75% segment. And therefore, I blame the spreading of disease, of STDs and all these goddamn, and these women, their vaginas are getting all infected with syphilis and warts and all these, these viral and fungal infections from having so many sexual partners. And it's not the men that are doing. The women are having more sex than the men are nowadays. Period. I don't care what anybody says. There might be a small portion of men like doing porno or something that have as much sex as the female portion population.
I think it's safe to say that there's examples out there of both men and women doing atrocious things, and that there's no real bar that you can judge them both by that says who's worse.
Yeah.
They're both bad.
Right. And God never intended people to be having sex with like 10,000, 20,000 partners. I mean, there's studies now that women are having sex with like up to 10,000 partners and stuff. And like, God never intended that. And that's all feminism and everything. You know what I mean? That's what Comicsgate is supposed to be getting away from, is feminism. But then, like I said, they contradict themselves somehow. I'm not saying we shouldn't promote women. You know what I mean? I would say, like, but every situation should be assessed for itself. And if you're unnecessarily helping a woman when you could be helping some father, if you say you're a conservative for traditional American values, it would seem you would help a father, not the mother.
Right.
Why would you help the mother? You want to bang her, that's why, or you're hoping, or something, or because you think you're going to be, or you really think women are really that victimized. You know what I mean?
Or that better at being a caregiver.
Or that better, yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just saying, if we're going to keep things in perspective and say we're American male
or innocent.
Yeah, or no, if you're going to apply logic across the board and say we're running from liberals and we believe in traditional kind of conservative male values and stuff like that, not necessarily in comic books, but us as creators, then you would help other male, you know what I mean, conservative,
comic book
traditional conservative American comic book creators, would you not? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. So.
Okay, man. Oh, geez, it's just not me that thinks that would be logical.
No.
Oh, geez, because somehow Comicsgate seems to a lot, like 99% of them ignore me or play devil's advocate with me and be like, well, you're not considering or this or that, and it's always something that is already some bullshit narrative that's been put out there. That's, you know what I mean. That's
so.
It's not any research; it's an opinion. It's women. No, it's men that are beating all the kids. Men hardly see their kids.
I can't relate to Comicsgate personally, but I think for me, my personal experience versus society and what I see in mass media and see television, they contrast and they contradict each other. Is that men are not as deserving as women based on anything.
Right. Sorry, man, I got taken over. You said Batman would be your worst or your favorite. Who would you say your favorite?
Wolverine.
Wolverine. Well, let's leave it.
I'm
just saying we should probably leave it on this note because it's getting rather long. But I also wanted to make sure I remember. So it's Wolverine. How did I not know your favorite? Maybe you've told me that.
Well, I think because the popular vote nowadays that you see on Facebook is like between like Superman and Batman.
Yeah.
So if I had to go with that poll, I kind of like the fact that Batman is even in the league of superheroes, considering that he doesn't have powers. Like, that's impressive.
That's very
impressive. I would
impressive.
rather side with like the underdog, so I always go with
that's
Batman
why
when it comes
Nutjob
to
is
that.
kind of cool too.
And that's why I like Nutjob, because he doesn't have true superpowers.
Yeah.
And also because the reason we even started the video is that he touches on all the topics, or at least the darkest of the topics that we talked about tonight altogether, being the injustice of society against men. That it's just not the real reality that is portrayed by society and the mass media that men.
Yeah, I wanted to have
Is it
I
bad?
want to have it to be where the storyline where like people are living kind of in a matrix, not like Matrix, like the movie Matrix, but they're in a matrix of
They're
ideas,
brainwashed.
and they're brainwashed, and when they don't listen to them, they get killed like all around him. You know what I mean? It's like it's basically like tribulation time.
Yeah.
And
He's
you know,
given
and
his own
life is
justice.
serious, and there's like monsters walking around. He goes to towns and like helps people fight like monsters because there's like gates being opened and stuff, and you know what I mean, all kinds of cool stuff. So anyway, yeah, hey, we'll call it a night, but look forward to seeing people like my nephew and my sister coming on here more often. You know, if you want to say goodbye. Thanks for joining
Thank you
us.
guys for listening. If anyone's listening.
Yeah, I'm sure people will. I get views. So anyway, yeah. Thanks for listening to the podcast, people.
2 hour
People could be busy. It's Friday night, you know what I mean? There's like probably, like I said, the main comic skaters are probably all on right now. You know what I mean? Or not all of them, but some of them. Yeah, Umbrella Guy is on. Art's on. No, Art's not on. He just put up a video though. No, Umbrella Guy is on right now. All right, man. So I'll talk to you later.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. I'm going to check who's in the comments real quick. It's probably like Cave Creature. I'm doing pretty good. I'm approaching 100 subs, people, and I'm thankful for that. I just want to check the comments real quick.
I'm interested. People making fun of us or supporting.
No, people are supportive. Usually, yes, it's Cave Creature. Traversable Mig's House says thanks, Stu. Yeah, thank you, Traversable, for showing up. Yeah, Traversable. He said, "I think your account is not working." Yeah, I know, Traversable. Traversable. You get censored too, I'm sure, man. If you start defending. I'm not even defending the family so much anymore because, as you know, I'm pretty much against marriage, at least through the courts and everything. It might be safer to get married if you really want to have kids because then you at least start off with shared custody. You know what I'm saying, Will? Instead of starting off like we did with absolutely no custody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where in a divorce, we might have at least gotten shared custody from the get-go, right?
Right.
In a divorce case. But my point being is I'm just saying verbatim that, like, you know, the conservatives aren't acting really like the conservatives anymore, and having a family is virtually impossible, and that we should at least be telling men, like, hey, want to get married from a young age, like from the time they're like 12 and start looking at women or whatever, 14, whatever, you start hearing them playing with themselves in their bedroom or whatever when you walk by, getting a drink at night, whatever, you know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, okay, something's going on. It's time to give your kid the talk, and the talk shouldn't just be wear a condom. The talk should be, if she says you did something, you did it.
Oh man!
If she, you know what I'm saying? Imagine if you were 12 and they were like,
I don't even know what to tell a kid nowadays. I got scared.
If she says you did something,
grandma and grandpa that pretty much stay away from girls all the time
right,
because of how dangerous it can be.
Right. If she changes her mind and you don't change yours, then you're not allowed to stalk her. But if you change your mind and she don't change hers, she's allowed to stalk you. She can hit you. You can't hit her. Start telling. That needs to be the new birds and the bees talk for young men. She can hit you, and you can't hit her back more than likely. And if she says you did something, even if you can prove yourself innocent, and you might even get off for the charges, but nobody's going to give you a break while you're going to court. And when you do get off, the community's probably going to still go around and tell everybody that you're a woman beater. And then more 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds and 16-year-olds would start thinking about their school instead of going and dating these women anymore. Why don't we just, there you go, Traversable. Why don't we just give them the truth right from the get-go? Hey, Traversable, like, this is what it's like with women. Bam! That'll solve, dude. If that won't straighten a 14 or a 16-year-old out and make him start doing his homework and studying, I don't know what else will, basically.
Right.
So there's
you
that.
want to prepare a kid for the pros and cons of relationships nowadays, and it's like, how extreme do I tell them? Because the worst case scenarios are pretty very grim and undeserving, and like you said, like to prepare someone for something like that, you could just straight up, anyone.
What was it like to be facing felony charges in front of a court with some girl saying you fucking
very scary.
You attacked her?
Very real.
Well, how did that feel?
They came to me. The court, the appointed lawyer or whatever that most people end up getting because they don't save up money to go to court or have money to be in court.
Did they tell you a girl was going to do that?
No,
who told you a girl was going to do that?
My grandparents pretty much said that, and my uncle basically said that was going to happen. They said, well, they didn't say it was going to happen, but they said to tread carefully, that anyone, especially a girl, obviously.
Well, they'd already been through it with me. They'd already been through it with me by then. I was the original one telling you.
The way the laws are is that anyone can lie about you and get you in hot water.
Remember
for doing nothing.
Remember when that guy?
And even if
you telling me? Are you telling me you don't remember when I showed up at your church on William Street and that girl's mom was there, or that girl's dad was there, that said he was going to kick you in the throat and all this stuff?
All right, I remember that too.
You do remember that?
Yeah, I do remember.
Remember when I was like, because like you got caught with steamy windows in the back seat with some girl you were dating in high school. Yeah. One of the few kind of punk alternative girls that you could even find that would date a nice, upright, honest, respectful, clean white boy, right? Yeah. From a good veteran family, right?
Yeah.
I'm not lying. No. And then when you got caught by the police, he came around and he started yelling at you, a young man on my front lawn, this big fucking meat neck American fucking Captain Beefheart, basically, with tattoos all over him. And what did he say? He was going to kick you in your throat or something like that, or kick you upside your head finally, after yelling at you and embarrassing you for like about 2 minutes at nighttime. It was like summertime, right out here in Berkshire County. Yeah, a beautiful scenic Berkshire County summer night, nice and warm. And he's like, I'm gonna do. And then he said, I'm gonna kick you right in your fucking throat or upside your head or something. And then I was like, no, you're not. Remember that?
Yeah,
I was like, no. I was like that. I was like, no, that's not. And then I was like, you basically, you've said enough and you can leave now or whatever. And he left, right? Okay. Then what happened? He came back like a week later, right? Yelling on mom's lawn again, whatever. And then I was like, it was like Sunday morning, remember? And I was like, what church is it you go to with her? And you said out William Street. It was like First Church of Jesus or something like that. A Christian Assembly. This really happened. I'm not making this up. And I went over there and I went to the service, and then I saw him and I said, hey, and he goes, hey. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? I was like, come on outside. I want to talk. I was ready to beat that guy up right in the quote house of God, unquote. Yeah. And I brought him outside and was like, yeah, you need to stop coming over to my parents' house and yelling on their lawn in front of the neighbors and everything now. I was like, you pretty much said your piece. And he's like, well, my daughter. And I was like, yeah, I understand your daughter, whatever. I was like, everything's blamed on men these days. But, I was like, your daughter was involved in it too. It's not like I was like basically saying my nephew's not raping your fucking daughter.
Right.
I don't want to say fucking raping your daughter. And, I didn't say that, but that, that's what I was going to get at. And then I was like, whatever. And then he was like, well, he started yelling at me. And I was like, as long as you understand what I'm telling you right now, that you're never going to ever come over my parents again ever, not even one more time, and yell on my parents' front lawn ever again. Am I making myself clear to you? And this big fucking guy just started crying on my shoulder in the parking lot outside of First Assembly or Christian.
I didn't know that. I think you told me.
You were getting in the car leaving. You were in the car leaving while I was talking to him.
Oh, I didn't know that, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then he never fucking bothered you again, basically. No, I was ready to beat the fucking shit out of that fucking guy right there. I was so fed up with all this stuff that's going on with men being blamed for everything that when I saw your future on the line in police and some guy going, "Oh, no, my daughter," I was like ready to beat him up out on the front lawn right out there on fucking William Street and just make an example out of that guy and go to jail or whatever. But he cried like a baby on my shoulder because he knew what I was saying was true and that his daughter was involved and that she was having, you know what I mean? But it was all going to be blamed on you, Will. And I saw that coming, by the way. But I know I was there you remember the first time. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Well, I'm telling you right now, I'm done with this bullshit with people. And I will fight the whole fucking planet over my family now because I'm no more Mr. Nice Guy with me. So anyway, this is a good place to call it quits. And I just want to thank everybody, Cave Creature, Traversable, who first gave me my voice, period, gave me a platform to speak on because, Traversable wasn't afraid of me being a little controversial, saying new things coming from a different angle. And he was just like, yeah, hey, come on the show, period. You know what I mean? Yeah, well, a lot of these people these YouTubers are like afraid of fucking competition or something. Or I don't know what it is. Yeah, or I don't know, but whatever. Traversable's not afraid. Chad too. Thank you, Chad and Riff. Do not underestimate the power of a comic artist. Hello, Action. Hello, Chad. Too and Cave Creature. You're one of my most loyal fans. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, Cave Creature. And Riff, Marvel and DC have lost the plot. They sure have. Like way lost it. Like changed it 15,000 times. The believability's gone. You know what I mean? Sold it to this company, sold it to that company. First Peter Parker is this way, now Peter Parker's that way. Well, you know what I mean? They've ruined the integrity of carefully crafted comic book characters that a lot of people have enjoyed since they were little kids reading under their covers with flashlights at night. Let me see. Anyway, I'm going to call it quits. Thank you, guys. And just give us a thumbs up. And I just really want to thank you, Will, for coming on.
No problem.
All right. Later, peeps.